What's good? It's Landlord Jack.
It's your boy 57 Freddy, and we just jumped off the porch with
Dirty Glove Bastard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Minks in Miami, shorty know that I'm a winner. Kill my little man, so you know I gotta get him. Losing all my homies got.
All right, so we got Landlord Jack and 57 Freddy jumping off the porch with us today. Welcome, guys.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, no problem. Appreciate both of y'all pulling up,
Yes,
man.
sir.
Yeah. So Jack, man, how'd you bring you back, bro? The first interview, classic, man. Such great feedback and everything too, man.
For sure.
Yeah.
You know, that first interview was more real heavy on the real estate side.
Yep.
Real heavy on, you know, I just had some big things happen in my life during that time, some tragedy. And then, you know, when I come to Atlanta, you know, I had to hit the big podcast.
Absolutely,
so
man.
I pulled up last year, had to pull up this year. And then I had to bring a heavy hitter with me, you know what I mean? So I brought 57 Freddy, you know what I mean?
Yep.
Biggest in the game.
Man, talk about that relationship. How long y'all been knowing each other? How'd you guys link up and everything too?
Man, I met Freddy through the cars, man. Really,
Okay.
you know, coming up in the car game, you know, there's big names no matter what city you're from that get recognition. And 57 Freddy was somebody's name you hear, you know what I mean? 57 Freddy did this, 57 Freddy did that. So when Ross had the car show, you know, when 57 Freddy and Ross came up with this car show idea, I said, man, this is only a must. I go check this out. So I checked it out, you know, obviously I'm gonna mingle with the greats. What's up, man? I'm Landlord Jack. You know, I kind of made a move on the Instagram and just the internet in general. So, you know, everybody kind of already knows each other's names in the game. And then once you're around somebody and you have common interest and, you know what I mean, real recognizes real, you're going to end up linking up. And then next thing you know, the love of cars. And then he's also a hustler, you know what I mean? Ross is a hustler. Freddy's a hustler, you know, entrepreneur, great mindsets. And he's in real estate as well. So it's just a must, you know what I mean?
A lot of mutual interest is what it sounded like right there, man.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So Freddy, man, for people that don't know you, man, can you give us a little bit of your story, man? Where you from, you come up and everything too, bro?
I'm originally born in the Bronx, New York. I came to Miami at an early age, at the age of 13.
Okay.
My parents, my uncles, they were all into cars and bikes. So that's kind of how I caught the bug. And I just grew up in the car world, you know, ever since. I started restoring cars, had a shop, and in 2021, I decided to retire. So I just ain't really have nothing to do. You know, I do good with the real estate stuff and other investments, so just kicking it at home. And one day we just me and Ross came up with the whole making the car show thing happen. So that we ended up doing it the following year, which was in 2022.
Okay.
So we just been rocking ever since. We're on our 5th year. June 13th will be our 5th annual. And like Jack said, you know, through the car thing, we just, you know, started hearing of each other. You know, like I said, you hear names from people from different cities, and Jack was one of the names that stood out. So obviously when he came to the show, you know, we just gravitated, and like he said, a lot of things we had in common, you know, real estate, you know, we some go-getters. Ross is a go-getter. So it was only right. You know, it was only right to make this happen, you know?
So you mentioned your love of cars goes way back to your parents. What were they driving back there? Like what's one of the first cars you remember them having?
Man, like the first car that really stood out to me was my dad had bought, it was a 1985 Camaro Z28.
Okay.
But the cool thing about it was that, you know, in New York, you live in buildings. So my dad pulled up to the block, and I guess I ended up looking out the window to go see where my dad had pulled up in, but I saw him through the roof, through the ceiling. And I know, you know, this was T-tops. But I just ended up like looking at my dad through the roof of the car, and I thought that was the baddest thing in the world. And but my dad, you know, played with a lot of cars. Monte Carlo SS, he bought from my mom, brand new. He ended up buying like VIN number #1 when the '86 IROC came out.
Wait, VIN number one?
My dad had got the first.
How did he pull that off?
Man,
Yeah,
Freddy
or-
be
yeah,
having
or-
cool stuff going on. He never told me like
My dad ordered the car 2 years prior.
2 years prior.
Yeah, so my dad was the first one on the list. He was the first one to get that car.
wow.
That if not to that long ago, he still had that car.
I was going to say, that's something you probably want to hold on to for a while.
They got rid of it. He ended up shipping it to Dominican Republic.
Oh, really?
The car just sat there for decades in my grandma's garage, and he got rid of it. I would say maybe like 6 years ago.
True. Let me ask you, do car collectors, do they care about that? Like if it's VIN number 1, like does that add a premium to it?
Yeah, I would say it would, but over there in those countries, it
Not
doesn't
too much,
matter.
yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But the car was just sitting for decades. You know, my dad sent the car over there in '87,
True.
so the car sat there. So
Oh, that's crazy. Yeah.
until like 2000, 21, 20 when he sold it.
Yeah.
So the car, he had it all those years.
Oh, shit.
So it was pretty cool.
What was your first car? Do you remember?
I had a Toyota Corolla.
Start off simple, huh?
Yeah, I had like a '94 Toyota Corolla. That's how I started.
Okay.
I started with like Hammers, then graduated to McLean's, then Roadstar, then Chrome Dayton's, Triple Gold Dayton's, Center Gold Dayton's, All Gold Dayton's. So that's how pretty much I started, and it just started graduating, As you grow older, the finances change. So I just kept, I never stopped.
What's been one of your favorite cars that you've ever owned?
My 57 was a car that really stood out to me for a long time. When I was able to acquire it, it was pretty dope. Never bought nothing that expensive like that in my life.
How much we talking?
I paid for that car. I bought it in 2017. I paid $70,000 for it, but that was like a lot of money for me. You know what I'm saying? Like that was a lot of money for me. So I had other cars as well, but that car right there, to dish out that kind of money in one shot was, that was a lot for me. So that was like that's what kind of like got me over that hump, and then started playing in the 6-figure cars.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Did you put a lot of money into the 57 too?
Yeah, I would say it was more like a street worthy car.
Okay.
It was a car that I wanted to drive a lot, so I built it kind of to drive it a lot.
Yeah.
But yeah, I spent some money on it. Yeah, I just recently sold it.
Oh, you recently sold it? Okay.
Like a year ago. I'm building another one now.
Get rid of one, get another one,
Yeah,
right?
just start another one. Yeah.
Now, the Florida car scene, I'm sure, is a lot different than the New York car scene, man. Is there a big difference between the two?
I don't want to disrespect the New York guys, but yeah, I don't think the New York guys can dress. I give them that. But the car stuff, I really don't see eye to eye with them. You know what I'm saying? They do the BBF stuff.
Mm-hmm.
They do that stuff, but as far as like doing fly stuff, I don't consider New York a place where I will go get ideas from to see a build. You know what I'm saying? So.
And this could be for both of you guys. The Florida car culture, it seems like it's at the top of the list. You guys agree with that?
I'm from Florida, so I'm always gonna agree on that. But this is the thing though, California, and you get out there to the West Coast and you get into the lowrider game, when it comes to Florida, I'll be the first to say it. A lot of these dudes in Florida, we're real heavy in the dunks. You know what I mean? So the dunks are like Michael Jordan. Some people wear Michael Jordans because they play basketball and they love the game. Some people wear Michael Jordans because they're cool. So the dunk world is, you get a lot of people that buy dunks just because it's cool to have a dunk. Then you got some people that are real car people, you know what I mean, into the car game since they was little, that, you just happen to be raised in Florida, so you're gonna be gravitated towards dunks. And that was, that's how I came up. But when I was a kid coming up, like, Freddy's a little older than me, so when he had that Corolla on the Hammers, when I was young, my mom had a Nissan Sentra, and I remember the neighbor down the road had a car, had some Hammers, and I remember saying, hey man, you think we could try to buy these? And I remember trying to tell my mom, and I remember looking in the magazine, and she's like, what the hell, you crazy? You ain't putting that shit on my car, I'm like 13, 14, I bought the lowrider bike out the lowrider magazine. So when it comes to the car culture, California, man, the lowrider game, that's a whole nother level. But you know, Florida got a lot of swag, and we come with some nice cars too.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, that's my stance on it. You know, Freddy's traveled the country. He's been all around the country doing this, so he's got a bigger say on that. But I already know just from being in the game, you know, California's coming heavy.
Yeah.
What you think?
I agree.
Yeah.
Well, Fred, let me ask you, what's some slept-on car markets that, like you said, you travel a lot around the country, man. Where's some scenes that you see like, damn, they really getting some shit over here, man?
Houston with the swanger culture is real big.
Yeah.
The tuner, you know, the little tuner cars, the GTRs and little tuner cars, Honda 2000s, Honda Civics, that whole culture, bro, those guys spend a lot of money on those cars.
Most of them parts is like imported from Japan
Imported
and
from
everything.
Japan and all these weird places, but those guys put a lot of money into those cars. So that's a good culture. There's just so much, even the exotic stuff. You know, you could mess up a bag real quick. Ferraris and those Lambos and all that stuff, Rolls Royces. You know, these guys are buying $150,000 body kits. You know what I'm saying? So they're paying $500,000, $600,000 for a car, and they'll go drop another $150,000 on a body kit.
Yep.
So they play big.
Oh yeah.
So it depends on what you're into. I kind of dabble in everything. I like the truck scene. Even the truck scene, the lifted truck scene is crazy too.
Better be.
The lower truck scene, the bag trucks is another big culture. There's a lot. You will say, I look at the car culture like the music industry.
For sure.
It's like different genres, right?
Yeah.
There's a lot of genres in this thing that we call the car culture. So I look at it now, and I'm treating it as such. Is the crazy thing. I'm trying to like structure something more like a record label, but for the car culture.
That's interesting.
I don't know if it
right
makes
there.
sense, but it eventually will make sense.
Yeah.
In the next couple of years.
Yeah.
You know, so I just see a lot of guys with talent that are in the car world that they need exposure. They need to get their stories told. So I feel like we need to structure something like a record label for these guys, sign them, I don't know, streaming, because there's a lot of guys with cool stories and great talent. A lot of talented guys out there. So
That could be a game changer right there, man.
yes, absolutely.
Especially when you involve the streaming, because that thing is huge right there. Yeah.
Even just sponsorships, you know, a lot of these guys don't realize how many opportunities there are as far as, you know, different sponsorships or different ways you can get money out of the car game. You know, a lot of people are, like I said earlier, seeking attention, and some people are see the big picture of it and seeking how to make some money. You know what I mean? I'd rather have money than attention, and when you get the money, the attention's gonna come with it. You know, so with this car game, you know, it's very comparable to the music game. You know, there's country singers that will pack out a whole stadium, and I'm stuck in traffic, and I'm like, dog, what's up with the traffic? And they say, you know, the Brad, whoever, he's got a concert. I said, who is it? He sold out the stadium? I don't know who he is, but his culture and all his people, it's a huge market. And it's the same thing with the cars. You know, in Florida, we get stuck in that dunk world, kind of, and we don't realize, man, the lowrider world is huge, the truck world is huge, that tuner world is huge, you know, and just figuring out how to really tap into those different markets also is kind of what he's saying, you know, and creating opportunity for everybody. You know, that car show, the Rick Ross car show, it's created so much opportunity. You see me here from every year I've came here, I've just watched just the opportunities grow, my network grow, my numbers grow. I get booked for shows, you know, and they pay me thousands of dollars to show up. And it all stems back from the push that comes from that. You know what I mean? Not everybody's gonna give their flowers when it's time to do it, but I do, you know what I mean? So I see the big picture of that, you know what I mean? And it's huge.
Yep.
It's huge.
Yeah, Freddie, talk about that growth of this car show, the Rick Ross car show, 5th year now. And I hear people say it's the Super Bowl of car shows at this point, but did you guys envision that type of growth so quickly too?
No, it was something that caught it. We knew we had a hit on the first year. Were we ready for that? Absolutely not. The first year was a disaster, but
A lot of lessons learned, I'm sure.
absolutely, we just pulled out like a like a little homey barbecue type permit. Couple guys come to the house, we sell a couple tickets, and it's just gonna be a cool Saturday at the house. That's what it was, and that's not what happened.
How many people showed up that first year?
The first year, I think it was like 7,000 people.
7,000.
Yeah, 7.
And this is at Ross's house, too.
Yeah, right there in his front yard.
Yep.
7,000 people. We had about 800 cars at the house. And I just noticed a lot of guys got famous off, social media famous off that event. And the cool thing about it is not that. The cool thing about it is that show has been able to create his own community, his own ecosystem. There's a lot of shops that are keeping their doors open and feeding their families off that car show.
Mm-hmm.
Just the amount of money that I also manage Ross's cars. So I know what he spends annually on cars, and I'm shipping cars all over the country to different shops to get worked on. So just himself, the amount of money that he spends annually playing with cars is impressive. It's very impressive. And then when that show comes around, let's say the last 4 months, 5 months prior to that show, every shop is booked. And it's because everybody's getting ready to go to that show. Yeah. So that car show has created its own ecosystem. Like I said, a lot of people have been able to feed their families, keep their doors open, provide service, and it also grows the culture.
Absolutely.
And it gives opportunity for the culture to grow because it's being stimulated economically. Mm-hmm. So it's been a great thing to see that happen.
When did you realize Ross had a real passion for cars?
Oh, always. Ross was the type of person that he would go on the road when he would travel in tour buses and stuff like that. He would stop at all the gas stations and buy the Auto Trader.
Really?
Yeah, and he would sit there and he would circle cars that he was interested in. So I remember the first time I went to the Promised Land, this was when he first bought that house. He gave me a tour of the house, and he just had boxes and boxes of Auto Trader. So I'm just reminiscing of the days of the Auto Trader when you would find them at the gas stations. Mm-hmm. So I'm just flipping through them, and it just had circles on cars that he bought or planned to buy or he was interested in. But just for you to sit there and go page through page and just look for cars is very time consuming. And he had hundreds of autos. He still has them to this day. He still has them to this day put up. So I knew that his passion for cars was big.
Yeah. And how did the idea for the car show come about? Were you guys just kind of just plotting ideas, or he come out the blue one day and was like...
No, we had spoke about it years prior. I would say maybe 5 years prior to the show. And we're going to do an event. We're going to do a car show. Did we have a location? No. Did we have a plan for it? No. It was just one day we're at one of his birthday parties and a mutual friend says something about, yo, when are we having the Georgia versus Florida car show? But he asked Ross the question, and Ross thought that it was a picture. So Ross poses for the picture, but the guy goes, no, it's a video. So Ross got caught off guard, and then the guy goes, yo, so 57 Freddy, when are we doing the car show? And right there on the spot, I said, we're doing it in May. And it got caught on camera. The clip is still out there. And when I said May, everything like flashed in front of my face. That right there in that moment, when the stars aligned, the whole plan came together in those 5 seconds. The next day, I called his sister. What is the schedule for May? And she gave me a date that he had open. So I told her sister, block that weekend. She blocked the weekend. I called my man Andy Boy. He's a awesome graphic designer. And I told him, yo, I need to make a flyer like this, like that. The car show is going to be, even the name of the car show, everything. You know, Rick Ross at the Promised Land Car and Bike Show. That was the name of the show. He made me the flyer like in 20, 30 minutes. And I threw the flyer on my Instagram page. The wild part about it was that I never consulted with him about it. I just threw the flyer online. And he calls me like at 6 in the morning. Ross doesn't sleep. So he called me like at 6 in the morning, and he's just like yelling, like, yo, what are you doing? You posted a flyer. You don't know what I have going on. You know, like real, he's giving me the real truth. So I'm like, nah. I went through the proper channels. Like I spoke to your sister and she gave me the date and you're not doing nothing that Saturday. Whoop. So then he was like, all right, so I'm not doing nothing. You cool? I don't have a show. I don't got a booking. I don't have nothing. I was like, nah, man, you good. Like, this is blocked. He hung up the phone, click, and 10, 15 seconds later, I get the alert on Instagram of the real post, and he posted the flyer. That shit went nuts.
It was over.
We didn't even have a website.
Not even to buy tickets.
We didn't even have a website. I called my man Ocean that he's here with us right now. And he's our graphic designer. He runs all our social media pages. So I called him and I'm like, yo, bro, I need a website. So he, you know, go to GoDaddy, you do this, you do that, because I had no clue. So he structured the whole thing. We put a website together, linked a payment system to it, and we were off to the races.
True.
And it was a huge success. It was a disaster, but a success because we did very well.
Yeah.
But it was a big learning lesson. We learned a lot from that first one. And we've been able to adjust every year and perfect it.
What's your guys' reaction when you start seeing 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 7,000 cars show up that first year?
Yeah. No, we had like 700, 800 cars.
Oh, 7.
That year. We sold general admission tickets, 7,000 tickets.
True.
When you see the numbers of the ticket sales and they're in the 6 figures on a daily basis, you know, when you make 200,000-300,000 a day, and then the next day you hit for another 150,000, 200,000 in ticket sales, we're like, oh man, this is for real, for real. And by the grace of God, you know, it did very well. Even though we got fined and sued and
TMZ.
yeah, TMZ, court cases, tons of lawyer fees, but it was all worth it.
Was it profitable at least?
Yeah, we did good. But, you know, things that we didn't know, we ain't understand. You know, we're like, yo, this is his house.
Yeah, why we need permits?
Why do you need a permit? It's his house. But obviously, you know, I understand that we don't own what we say we own, technically. It belongs to the government. So they worked with us. You know, they believed in us. Obviously, it created a lot of jobs. It created a lot of income for the city of Fayetteville, the city of Fulton, generated a lot of money off that weekend.
Oh, absolutely.
So it was something that was very helpful and benefited both sides.
Yep.
So they came to an agreement and it worked out great. Like I said, you know, June 13th is our 5th year. And it's going to be another great event.
Yeah. Jack, did you go the first year?
I missed the first year. Everything was set up. I was about to go out there, and then I had some problems with some of my tenants with an eviction, and I got held back. And then after that, I ain't miss a year. I'm there every year. You know what I mean? You would think I was there before it started. Most of the people, you know, I push that show a lot. You know what I mean? But yeah. That first year was huge on the internet. You know, I was very involved with the politics on the internet because everybody's talking. We're all on the lives. Everybody's going back and forth. You got people competing for the keys. I don't know if you noticed that.
Were the keys available the first year, Freddy?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
So that was a big thing that everybody, you know, everybody's pushing for the key. They got the dunks in Florida. Everybody's going crazy. So that really stirred up the whole game. That's really what stirred the game up. It still stirs the game
It's a lot of bragging rights, right?
for sure.
It's I toured a lot when I first started in the car industry. So we never got compensated as competitors. So we would travel, once again, I'm going to use the music industry because it's so similar. In the early stages, travel, no money, cheap hotels, have to probably bunk with 4 dudes in a, $30, $40 a night room, struggling to get gas money, to travel across the country to go to these shows. Mm-hmm. So we've dealt with a lot of hardship coming up in the industry. So I always felt that if I ever got myself in a position of power, I would treat people the way that I wanted these promoters to treat me when I was on the road traveling from the East Coast all the way to the West Coast and Midwest, all these places that we traveled to, because we did this drove, you know what I'm saying? So it wasn't, we had to get on the road and drive. So I always said if I ever got in a position of power, I would give back to the competitors the way I felt like I wanted to be treated. And honestly, Ross came up with the whole key concept. And I just think it was great for him to decide to give back in that magnitude.
He's spending a lot of money on these keys, right?
Yeah, these keys are valued, $100,000, They're very expensive. We give away 6-7 keys a year. Mm-hmm. So do the math.
Oh, yeah.
There's not a show that you can go to, not even the most prestigious shows
that has that type of reward, right?
Has that type of reward, so, and even for that to happen and then come from the urban community is pretty cool, that we're having hot rod guys that really build cars, and they go for these prestigious titles and they're fed up with the way that their system works. So they're jumping ship and they're coming to our event. So it shows that we're doing something right.
Mm-hmm. And who decides who gets the keys each year?
Well, me and Ross stay out of that.
Okay.
We don't get involved in that. So we have a judging staff that we bring in. So they judge and they have their whole, they've been doing it for years.
Okay.
They travel the country doing shows and they have their system. They have a point system. Obviously, we give them the direction because we don't want to fall in the judging system of other promotional companies. So I kind of give them an idea of what my vision is, what Ross's vision is, and then they can implement their expertise and what they're good at. But we don't get involved because we don't want to play the politics.
Oh, yeah.
We just let the judges deal with that.
That's the best way to do it,
yes. Yes, and it's worked out great. For the most part, everybody's going to complain. You're going to have people complaining.
Of course. If they don't win, everyone's going to complain. You're only going to make so many people happy.
Correct. But for the most part, we've always been fair. And people can see, okay, well, it does make sense. Even though we feel such and such should have won, but they didn't make a bad choice. It still makes sense. Whatever the decision is and why they went that route still makes sense. So that's cool. But, like I said, you're not going to make everybody happy. But
all right, Jack, so I see you just posted a video on IG, man.
Yeah.
You at the top of the hill now. You front and center with the car at the car show, bro.
Made it to the top of the hill. I got to the top of the hill just by helping create an opportunity, and pushing back. And that's what I talk about with the car game and really just that show the opportunities that come with it. So sometimes it ain't always about your opportunity. Sometimes it's about giving somebody else an opportunity. And Ocean, he's with the Rick Ross Car Show. He's an artist as well. And he said, hey, Jack, you think we could paint your Rolls Royce? I said, what you mean, like candy paint or something? He said, no, like my art. I said, oh, I don't know. He was like, I think it's a good idea. And I thought about it. And I said, if we can protect the car, let's do it. Then I got more crazy because I care more about my dunk than I do the Rolls Royce because, that's just how that is. But I say, you know what? That car show is, a lot of classic cars. The dunks are a real big deal at the Ross show. Not saying that the Rolls Royces aren't because they're lined up out there too. We got a nice collection of them. But I said, let's do the dunk. And then also I wanted to create a little bit of stir on the internet. So I said, let's wrap it. You walk in my garage and you just start painting on it like no one told you to.
But you vandalized it basically.
Yeah,
right?
pretty much. So we put it together. Boom, he came in, he flew in. We had it wrapped, Tate Designs. He does the wraps, Tate, shout out to Tate. He came in, he wrapped it, and we went ahead and he painted it up, and the internet went crazy. You know, a lot of people in the car game may not be in the art game, and then they see someone putting that art on that car, and they're like, man, what are you thinking? What's wrong with you? Are you crazy? And we let that go for a few days and get people talking. And I gave him the opportunity to display his art on a you know, real expensive car. And then in it goes both ways, because now, guess what? The car is displayed at the top. So sometimes in life, it ain't always about having to build the $700,000 car. You got to get creative to get in the door. Creativity is going to get you further than money a lot of times. You know what I mean? You can't just always pay your way in. You know, you put in the work and you start at the bottom of the hill, and year after year, you build your way up till you're there. You know what I mean? A lot of people just want to pay their way to get in. You know what I mean? And it ain't the same. You know what I mean? This takes years to get to this situation.
Oh yeah, and talk about the power of relationships in the culture
relationships is huge. You know, a lot of people in this car game run off of ego and jealousy, and that's something that's gonna come in competition. But jealousy ain't part of competition. Competition goes where we can argue and say who's the best painter, who's the best design, who picked out the best wheels, who's doing the best craftsmanship. We could argue. But sometimes people can see the best of the best and they're gonna hate. You know what I mean? You know, it's in it just comes with it. You know, Freddy's in a real crazy position that he's in, because he has to be the handler of all these people. You know what I mean? Decisions of all these people. Just as much as you could pick a judge to say, this is a group of judges, let's see what car is the best. There ain't no judge for these group of people he has to deal with that say, hey, I want my trailer parked here. And he says, you can't park it there. Why not? You know, because I wanted my trailer parked there earlier. He said, no, we're going to park it over there. And I said, why not? He says, where everybody goes. If you park there, then everybody parks there. Not everybody's as understanding. You know what I mean? But that's what comes with it. And you weed out the good and the bad, and you build relationships with people through it all. And the rest of them, you say what's up and keep it moving. You know, it's just life. But through it all, we're going to create opportunity. You know, the car show's huge. It's the biggest independent car show there is. And I feel like it's the biggest networking event there is for the culture and car community that I'm a part of, for sure.
Oh yeah.
You know, and a lot of people don't tell you they became famous on the internet because of that. You know what I mean? So that's what that car show is, for sure.
Yeah. So Freddy, 5 years in, another 5 years, where do you see this, man? Like, we gonna take this on the road, or?
That's the plan, but maybe in another 5 years, maybe, you know, we sell it and cash out big.
There you go.
You know? So I'm learning the Ross School of Finance and Business. So I've been able to soak in a lot, just being a sponge on the wall. And that'll be great, you know, if we get this thing built up to a point to where we can sell it in the future, maybe control the likeness of it, you know what I'm saying, still be the faces of it, but maybe we can sell it to a big company.
I'm sure they'd probably line it up to buy
It'd
it.
be a huge opportunity for them.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah.
that'll be cool, something like that in another 5 years. You know, that'll be 10 years in. I think that'll be a good thing to look forward to. But yeah, a tour sounds good, you know. Been thinking about it for the last 2 years.
Okay.
So maybe next year.
Yeah, because you guys built up this community. You know what I'm saying? So for any company that could tap into that, I'm sure you guys probably already have sponsors and everything too.
Yes, we have great sponsors, man. We do real great with the sponsors. It wasn't like that at first, obviously. But throughout the years, you know, the checks have been getting bigger. So that's pretty cool.
Yep.
But yeah, it's time to take it to the next level.
Oh yeah.
You know, we gotta strategize and move up.
And Jack, speaking of sponsors, JL Audio
Yeah.
just sponsored you, man. How'd that opportunity come about, bro?
That opportunity came from this car show.
Okay.
That opportunity came from the same thing that I talk about, where somebody reached out to me, had a very small following count, and said, Jack, I see you're very involved with the Rick Ross car show. Really, first he asked me about my book. And he said, I'm sitting on some money and I'd like to invest in the real estate. And what would be your first move you would make? So I gave him some pointers. And I seen he bought my book, so I followed him back. You know, he supported me, I support him. A few months later, the same page writes me and says, what kind of stereo equipment do you have in your car? I said, JL. He goes, I thought so. He goes, we own JL Garment and we would like to work something out. I see you're involved with the Raw show. We'd like to get in contact with them. So I look at the page and it's a smaller following. I said, man, JL's the Louis Vuitton of audio. So I said, before I go giving out numbers, this internet's funky. I said, let me call you. So I called the guy and he said, man, I've been watching you for years. You know, I like how you are. You're a humble dude. He said, I've reached out to some other people, didn't really get no contact back. He goes, you know, we're owners of JL Garment. I said, man, this guy's serious. I said, well, let me get you in contact with Freddy. That would be who you need to be in contact with. And they wanted to sponsor the show. So they ended up sponsoring the Rick Ross Car Show. And then I ended up getting my sponsorship. So you're talking $15,000, $20,000 worth of stereo equipment that I got from being part of that car show. And I know a lot of these guys get these same opportunities, but they're not going to say it came from the car show. You know what I mean? They're going to say it came from them, but they came from that, you know? So, but yeah, I put that together. That was a big deal. And that's really what I'm pushing for moving forward. You know what I mean? We're gonna continue to get some sponsors. We're gonna continue to get to the money. We're gonna keep hustling. That's what we're doing.
Oh yeah.
You know?
And like you mentioned earlier, you're getting booked all over the country too, man.
Yeah. I get booked. I'm in South Carolina, June 27th, in Waterboro, South Carolina. Rep the City Car and Bike Show with Dope Girl Nay. She has a good show out there. They book me every year. This will be the third year I've been booked out there.
That's
I get booked in Georgia. I go out there quite a bit. I get booked around in Florida. You know, they treat us like rappers almost. It's so crazy that you compare it to the music industry, but people truthfully become famous in this car culture, and then they book you. You know what I mean? People come up and want to take pictures with us. You know, I have the book, so a lot of people, Jack, let me get your autograph. And that to me, when I see that, you know, I own a lot of property. I'm a real estate investor, is really what I am. I have 43 rentals, so I'm very successful in what I do for my I guess my job, you would say. This is my hobby. But when I figured out how I can make money with my hobby, and then I'm seeing some real opportunities and real money and real numbers and real, you know, I'm gonna throw all that ego to the side. I don't know what jealousy feels like, so I'm gonna push that. I'm gonna gravitate towards that, and I'm gonna put things together. You know what I mean? I'm not just buying them Michael Jordans because I want to look cool. I want in the game. You know what I mean? I want in the game, and I want to get paid for it. You know, and I want everybody to get paid for it. I want the artist to put art on my car, and I want people to call him and say, "Hey, I want you to do that to my car." I want people to say, "Man, I see you repping Rick Ross Car Show. We want to sponsor it." Man, these people are writing me like, you know what I mean? I'm part of it, but I treat it like I'm part of it. And you know, when I started doing this, I do it with anything. If anybody asks who's the biggest podcast, I'm gonna say Off the Porch. You know what I mean? If I'm in Atlanta, you know, shout out to everybody who has them. But depending on where I'm at, what I'm pushing, I'm not a hater, man. And it's gonna create opportunities. And if I get in a room and I know I could use your name to get to the next level, I know when they call you, they're gonna say, Jack does good business. Jack is a man of his word. Jack's always been cool, you know? And then you're gonna tell them, and it's gonna put me to the next level. And it's the same thing with this car game, you know? It's just, it's creating relationships. It's the same way I started with one house and got to 43. It's the same way I started at the bottom of the hill and got up to the house. Before you know it, I'm gonna have a money machine, and we're gonna be in there laughing and counting up some money.
Counting it up.
You know what I mean? But they don't see, you know, a lot of people don't see the picture, man. That jealousy and ego stops them, you know? That's what it is. They don't like seeing Freddy come through there in that Ferrari.
You can tell he talking about somebody specific.
What's that?
You talking to somebody specific when you said that, the jealousy with the pictures? What you were just saying?
Jealousy, Pacific, shit, there's a whole bucket of them. What you mean? We got a bucket of crabs. I came from the bottom of a crab bucket. There was 1 million of them. I'm lucky. You know what I mean? That's what Mook says, man. I see, you know, everybody's dead batteries. You know what I mean? That's how I see it. So I don't want to be a dead battery. You need to jump, I'm going to give you the cables. You know what I mean? These people, it's just, and you see that in any industry. You're going to see that everywhere. But to me, when someone calls you and says, hey, is Jack solid? And you say, yeah, it's gonna push me to the next level. And when they call me and ask if you're solid, I'm gonna say, yeah, it's gonna push you to the next level. I've had people, I've been booked for shows, and I've had the promoter call me and say, hey, what you think about booking so-and-so? You know what I say? I think that's a great idea. I already got my 4,000. It's not gonna change nothing. I'm not a hater. I'm gonna get my money regardless. So why not say yeah? Even if they don't fuck with me, that's cool. I'm not gonna ruin the money. I'm never gonna mess the money up. You know what I mean? When it comes to that, but a lot of people do. You know what I mean? A lot of people do, and that's just how it goes, man.
Yeah.
You know?
No, you got to be a hustler at this shit, man. That's for sure.
100%. You know what I mean? 100%. You know, you can't stop. These guys don't sleep, man. They don't sleep. You know, Freddy's over there. Just like I said, man, you'll see Freddy, and a lot of people don't understand Freddy. I walk up to Freddy, say, what's up? He'll keep walking. I say, damn, what's up, dog? But you know what's wrong with this world? People don't have understanding. I have understanding because when I'm at my trailer park and there's 23 rentals and there's 23 people coming up, and 22 of them don't speak English and I don't speak Spanish, and everybody's paying and telling me their stories, and I got a translator out and I'm going through all this paperwork, and someone walks by and says hi, sometimes I just keep going too. So it's understanding. I got understanding. Yeah. Position of power comes with that, and he's in a position of power, you know? Yeah. And the crazy, it's the funny thing, I'd rewind it. You said, what's your favorite car? He said, a 57, my 57. You said, what did you pay? He said, 70,000. My man's in a $300,000 plus Ferrari out front, and his favorite car is the 57. You know what I mean? That lets you know that's a car person. Yeah. These other people, my favorite car is the most expensive one. You know what I mean? That's the difference like with this. Yeah.
Jack, do you have a dream car that you want to own one day?
You know, coming up, it was, you know, I seen dunks and I got gravitated to dunks, but I like all cars. So it's hard to have a dream car. My first car was crazy as he was talking about the Monte Carlo. The first car that I ever seen that got me into cars, I was a young kid and I was looking out the window and it was an 87 Monte Carlo SST top. It was a burgundy color. And the guy pulls up in it in the driveway, and we didn't have cars like this pulling up to our house, you know what I mean? And it's sounded good. Dude gets out, he's got this leather jacket on, it's so gold, and he's walking up, he's smooth. And he hears my cousin something, and I'm like, man, what the? He takes off, boom. So that was like the first car that got me in the car. So my dream car is the 87 Monte Carlo. It comes back again. My cousin, get inside, told me go inside. I'm like, man, what? I go inside, you know, grown folk business. The car comes back again. Well, now my aunt's here. You know, at that point, my aunt was very big in helping raise me. You know what I mean? I was somewhere I was at a lot. So she starts yelling, screaming at the guy, get out of here, Dad. And I'm like, man, it's the coolest person ever came to our house. What you mean, you see this car? She goes, he's a crack dealer. I said, what? I didn't know my cousin was on crack. I said, what? I said, dang, you seen the car? She's like, yeah, he's no good, get out of here. So I didn't know what crack was. I went in the house. I said, why don't we sell crack? You know what I mean? But it was,
get them on the car.
Yeah, I wanted that 87. And it's something attainable. It's something that, you know, obviously I'd be able to go buy. I haven't came across the right car in the right condition at the right time for me to buy it. You know, no matter how much money I got, I'm always still financially responsible, you know what I mean? So I'm still gonna pay attention to make sure I buy one. You know, I'm not just gonna impulsive go buy something. You know, I can go buy 4 or 5 Rolls Royces and all these cars and do all this stuff. I'd rather have 43 houses and you know, 1 Rolls Royce, 1 Dunk, 1 this, you know. So I'm still looking for that 87 Monte Carlo though.
Gotcha. Freddy, what about you? Is there a dream car you haven't owned at this point, bro?
No, I'm content. I've been looking. I've been talking to him. I'm looking for a new car. I just nothing really does it for me. I think I've driven everything I've ever wanted. So, like I said, I got a Ferrari, but I don't drive it. That car sits. I drive an Altima every day, to be honest with you. So I drive a 2019 Nissan Altima, and I paid like $7,000 for the car. I bought it at the auction, crashed, and that's what I drive every day, you know. But I got a bunch of six-figure cars laying around, but I don't, you know, as of right now, there's nothing really that I'm like, okay, I got to get that. I did it already. I did the trucks, the Rolls Royces, the Benzes, the sport cars, the cool. I did everything. I mean, you name it, I've had them. So
Why the Ultima every day?
excuse me.
Why you choose the Ultima every day then as your everyday car?
It's just a car you can move around in peace. You know, you could go to the grocery store. You know, you could run errands in it, and you get to see people's true character. You know what I'm saying? I get treated different when I'm driving certain cars.
For sure.
So I like to be in cars that are less appealing, and you're going to treat me accordingly. So I kind of drive that car just to know who I'm kind of dealing with, because people do treat you different. You know, they won't even valet your car when you're in an Altima, which has happened to me a bunch of times.
Really?
And I can double back that same night and pull up in something crazy, and the same person is literally begging to open my door. They'll sit while I sit in the car on the phone or whatever, and they'll sit at the door waiting to open the door for me. You know, so I like my low-key cars. I just like being in low-key cars.
No, I completely understand that.
He just said it. He just sat there on the phone just to get the guy back. He didn't even.
Not even going inside.
Just sitting there. So.
Yeah.
What's next, guys? Jack, what else you got coming, man?
Next, we got a bunch of ideas. You know, we're working on a few things. You know, him talking about trying to figure out how to get people in the car culture, different, you know, ways to get money, ways to get sponsorship. He talks to me a lot about that, signing people and figuring out how to do that. There's a lot of things in the works, you know. We talked about doing a podcast, you know what I mean? And tapping into that world, possibly streaming, you know. We're just trying to figure it all out. We came up with a lot of ideas, and, you know, Freddy's a busy guy, and then definitely with this car show going on, you know, it's hard to slow down and really tackle those ideas. And then, you know, last month I had a house burn down.
The house you grew up in, too.
Yeah. The house I grew up in, you know, my family lost the house to taxes. I went back and saved the house, redid the whole house like I was moving in it, you know. Most of my rentals are pretty basic. This one I put granite in, the nicest floors, all new, like I went in. So it burned down, you know what I mean? I didn't have insurance, I self-insured, and that's what I'm dealing with right now. But if I didn't tell you, you wouldn't even know, you know?
Just keep it pushing, right?
That's it, man, you know what I mean? Ain't nobody gonna come save you. You know, I tell people because I want people look at me for motivation also. So I want people to understand I go through things also. You know, when I see people that are down and out, they wife ran off, or they're fighting health battles, or they're going through different things, and I tell them keep their head up, they look at me and say, it's easy for you to say that. You know, that's what everybody says. So I like to show my struggle more to motivate people than for anybody to give me sympathy. You know what I mean? Because I don't need sympathy. I just need you to be motivated and get something out of my pain, because I'm gonna get something out of it. You know, I learn from it. When you go to the gym and you lift weights, you gotta put heavier weights on in order to get stronger. So God blessed me by having my house burned down to make me stronger, because once I get past this, what I'm gonna learn through this process, I'm gonna be stronger than I was before. So I look at the worst things as a blessing. You know, that's how I see it.
That's a great perspective to have.
Yeah,
for sure. Yeah.
If you don't look at it that way, you're gonna crash out, man. A lot of people minds play tricks on them. A lot of people take themselves out over situations that can be fixed, you know? and I value life, and if it ain't death, I know how to handle it. Somebody's house has burnt down before. They could tell you how to do it. Somebody's old ladies ran off before. They tell you how to do it. Nobody can tell me how to die, because we don't come back from that. So as long as it ain't that, I'm going. I'm good, man. I'm good.
For sure. Freddie, after the car show, do you normally go on vacation? Like, because I know a lot of work goes into this shit, man.
Nah.
Or is it just right back to work the next
Yeah,
day?
that's it. It's like right back to work. The grind don't stop. Rose never stops. You know what I'm saying? That guy never stops. So he's buying cars and ship this here and interior this and wheels that and stereo system here. So it just doesn't stop with him. So I don't believe in vacations. I'm not a vacation type of guy. And I don't feel like I'm in a position where I can go and take that time off. I still got a lot of work to do. You know, there's a lot of opportunities that he's given me, so I need to take advantage of it till the day that he decides that he no longer wants to do this. So as far as vacations, we don't do vacations. We got to keep grinding.
Do you have a personal favorite car that Ross owns?
He has so many cars, man. It's like,
How many cars does he have?
he has over 200 cars.
Over
I manage over
200 cars?
I manage over 200 cars.
Jesus. Are they all down here or are they spread out?
No, spread. I have them in
Okay.
different states. He has homes everywhere. So I just moved from Miami, just from Miami for this car show, 63 cars.
63 cars?
Yeah.
God damn.
Plus what he has here, stored here, which is, I would say at least another 100 stored here. And he has cars, Houston, Memphis. He has cars everywhere.
So he never needs to rent a car.
Oh, no. Yeah. The other day he found a Escalade that he forgot that he bought.
He forgot he bought
Yeah,
it.
he found it in one of the garages in one of the Houston houses. And he walked in the garage. He's like, yo, you remember that truck? I found it. Truck brand new, never drove it. It's got tons of Escalades laying around, you know, so yeah.
Crazy
dog,
problems to have, bro.
Yeah, dog don't need to rent cars. We just got our rig too.
I saw it.
Because of Megalodon.
I saw that.
So yeah, we were, you know, Rick Ross Car Show Transport coming soon.
Yeah.
The money we're spending with these transport companies,
I'm sure
I think it's best that we buy our own and figure that out. So he finally gave me the go-ahead, and we finally made the deal and purchased. So we actually just got here today.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And it's a good promotional
Huge on the promotion.
you know, piece to have. You know, moving around the country, we branded, we could sell ad space on it. You know what I'm saying? So it could serve for a lot of purpose. So I think it was a good investment.
A lot of opportunities with that for sure. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. This man's gonna make $1 million, a million different ways, isn't he?
Oh man, yeah, we're gonna figure it out. Yeah.
It's crazy. Certain people you meet, you talk to them, and you know when you meet a hustler, because they're gonna be like, "I'm gonna put ad space on the side of
That's
the
what I'm
thing.
saying, like,
we're not
man.
gonna pay for transport no more. We're transporting on
Yeah.
our own." You know what I mean?
Then we're gonna rent it out the days we don't
Yeah,
use
that's
it.
all these conversations are. But it's crazy is because it's just like a scratch off ticket. All the conversations. Eventually, one of them's gonna come, just like them saying, "Hey, maybe we're gonna have the car show." And then it just turned into that, you know what I mean? And the more you're around and the more you're talking and the more you're moving, you go from the bottom of the hill to the top of the hill and that conversation comes and boom, and next thing you know, is $1 million. It's $1 million idea.
There is that as a million times.
Yep.
That's it.
All right, guys. Any shout outs you want to give before we get you guys out of here, man? We can start with you, Jack.
Yeah, man, shout out to Rick Ross Car Show. Definitely they're on number 5. That's huge. Shout out to JL Audio for giving me the opportunity. You know, that was definitely dope. Shout out to definitely Rick Ross and 57 Freddy, you know, for even putting that on and just stimulating the economy like they did is huge. And you know what I mean? Everybody that's supporting that and coming out, man, because thank them too. You know what I mean? Because without them, that wouldn't be a show, and without the show, I wouldn't be in Atlanta on this podcast. You know, so that's what I'd say.
Freddy, anyone to shout out, man?
Yeah, shout out my dog, Fat Boy. The Rick Ross Car Show, all our sponsors, Gel Audio, Harley Davidson, Wingstop,
Slippery Soap.
Porch. So we also have a partnership with a company called Slippery Soap, which is an automotive car care product company that we own. We're in 3,000 AutoZone locations now, so you can go on slipperysoap.com or you can go to any of the 3,000 AutoZone locations and pick up, Slippery Soap. So that's, that's something that we're pushing. Of course, we're trying to be like Jay Leno.
Hey, the Slippery Soap was just an idea and seemed so small because everything's gonna start out, you know what I mean? And then now from when that started, and I remember, talking to Jeremy, that's who they got it going with, till today, 3,000 AutoZones. Man, that's crazy. That's crazy. And that was the same thing. And that's the same thing I keep preaching and talking about, is that opportunity like that.
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir. But check us out at, rickrosscarshow.com and on Instagram at Rick Ross Car Show. And get ready for the tour and Rick Ross Car Show 6, real soon.
Yeah, you probably got to start planning for it the next
planning
day,
it.
right?
We're going to drop dates real soon.
Yeah.
Minks in Miami, shorty know that I'm a winner. Kill my little man, so I gotta get him. Losing all my homies got me living